All right. Hold them accountable. All right. Bill, give me some bad advice on securing citizen developers.
Treat them like real developers that know what they're doing.
All right. Amichai, back to you. Give me some worse advice.
Well, the worst thing you could do is tell them no. That's the worst you could do because they'll do it anyway.
They'll do it anyway. Well, what's going to stop them? All right. Let's start this. Whoops.
Get ready. It's Super Cyber Friday.
Welcome, everybody, to Super Cyber Friday. I am at the executive suite at the Rosen Shingle Hotel right now, talking to you. Today's topic is hacking citizen developers, an hour of critical thinking about how to embrace democratizing development without creating security chaos. Let's meet our guests, who I was just introduced or just had on for a second ago. We have Bill Harmer, who's the CISO now of Superbase, and also Amichai Shulman, the co-founder and CTO for No Code Security. Huge thanks to our sponsor, No Code. They're the ones making this episode happen. Why we're talking about citizen developers today. All right, lots of different ways to participate, and you know most of them. We have the chat room. You can submit tips on how to safely enable citizen developers. Join us on video with Bring Me On at any time. Ask a question of our guests. Please get in some questions or vote for your favorite question. All right. And here's our setup. We've got good advice, bad advice, worse advice. We want to know from you how to safely enable citizen developers. They're out there. They're doing it. You can't stop them. They want to do it. You want them to do it, but you want them to do it safely. Let's hear your 10% better tips. We're going to play the public interest. We'll play your favorite deepfake. Your favorite deepfake will be playing for an awesome piece of CISO series swag. And then last questions and answers. And then when we wrap it up, we will have our meetup. And we want you to stick around for our meetup. So please be there. Lastly, I do also want to mention that next month, this will be our last show in March for CISO Series Podcast. But all of April, all the shows in April is Trust Month. And we've got 4 shows lined up. The next one is going to be Hacking Trust in Leadership. That's our April 3rd show. In fact, I can put the call to action of that in the lower right here. There it is, right there. An hour of critical thinking about how to build proactive relationships within your security team. That will be happening, and stick around for a meetup, which I just said moments ago. All right, let's get to our discussion at hand. Let me get rid of this off of this. Oh, get that off the stage. Thank you so much for doing that for me, Josh. Josh is the one working in the background to make sure all of this is doing out fine. All right. Let's start the stage. I'm going to start with you, Amichai. What is the difference between vibe coding and citizen developers? Because I think those are used they are intermingled plenty. What is the difference?
Well, I'll start with the technical difference, and then let's talk about the real difference.
Okay.
So technical difference is that usually when you talk about citizen developers or business created apps, you don't see any code, never, during your development process.
Mm-hmm.
These are tools that just allow you to create applications. Sometimes you call them RPAs, automations, agents, whatnot, without actually writing code. Vibe coding today, and this is today, could be, you know, changing tomorrow, still leaves you very quickly with the code that you have to tweak and change and maintain over time. Um, and that's a big difference because the people from marketing, HR, sales, procurement, whatever business unit that you can think of that create applications today um, using Salesforce, Power Platform, or any of those other tools, they never see code. They just create things. They maintain them over time, but without seeing a single line of code. Vibe coding, you describe what you want to do and you end up with code. By the way, there's sort of vibe coding
Mm-hmm.
for those platforms. So you can describe, for example, Power Automate. what is the automations that you want to create, and it will create that automation for you to as a starting point. Um, so today it's just not for the masses vibe coding.
Okay. Let me take this to you, Bill. Bill, you've been around people who are doing this, who are creating their own applications, who have no development past or experience, and it's kind of wondrous that it can happen. What is the difference in terms of how sort of security is approached? Because my feeling is probably not at all. Yes,
Yeah.
it's a big fat zero.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's really at that point of people believe that if the app works, it's production ready, and those are two very, very different things.
That's a
Um,
really good point.
yeah, when you think about, and I've seen this, I've seen people build amazing apps, but as soon as you ask them the security questions, the questions that would normally, and that's why I said, don't treat them like developers, that a developer has already ingrained in their head. um, they're looking at you like you've just completely changed languages on them, and they're absolutely no idea what you're talking about when you even think about um, you know RLS. Oh my god, like row level security on a database.
Mm-hmm.
No idea what that is. So many of them, so many early developers, AI developers left that off. And the AIs are getting better at understanding that it needs to be on because they're being trained.
Mm-hmm.
We as a company, we're getting better at making sure that the platforms are delivering those pieces up front. And I think that's what we're going to see a big change in,
Mm-hmm.
where the tools being used are going to turn things on by default. It's like the old days when we went from firewalls that were open to no, that doesn't work. We're going to do deny any, and you can go turn on what you want. We're going to see that in the platforms changing.
Okay. That's a really good point. Just because it works doesn't mean it's production ready. How do you explain, Amichai, then what the difference between those two is? Because developers get it, security professionals get it, your average person, well, what are you talking about? It works. Why isn't it production ready? How do you have that conversation?
Well, at least for me, I never thought that professional developers get it. So it's easier for me to approach the citizen developers with that. Yeah, we security people get that. But this is because this is what we do for living, security.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I, I've been doing this for more than 30 years now. Rarely you see developers that really get it, even if they're professional.
Mm-hmm.
It's ready, it's working. Uh, let's get it to production. Um, and the thing with citizen developers, and again, it goes back to making them accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they hold them accountable. It's their data.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike professional developers, they don't own the data. They need permission to access the data that they're writing application for. But um, the citizen developers, they own the data. So if you approach them from that perspective, uh, then at least they become a little bit more aware.
Okay,
Uh,
let me create an analogy on this. In that, if you tell me I created an app, you tell me I'm responsible for it. I'm like, for what? I don't know what I'm responsible for, you know? And it's like, I hire an accountant to deal with my taxes and I get a little bit of it, but there's a lot I do not understand. So I kind of lean on him to be the quote responsible one, if you will. I get the sense there needs to be some kind of equal relationship here with the citizen developer and the consultant slash accountant that I describe here. Yes, Amichai?
I totally agree. I totally agree. You expect your accountant to tell you, hey, get me those receipts at the end of the month, right?
And then
Uh,
ask me the relevant questions that I wouldn't even know to ask myself.
exactly, exactly. And I think in a citizen developer's world, you need to constantly be in that interaction, and we can probably discuss what it takes, because it sounds like a burden for the security teams. But you need to be constantly in this interaction of making sure that they are doing the right thing. So they've created the application. They will create it the wrong way from a security perspective. But then you need to tell them, hey, you go ahead and, like Bill said, you turn this on, and they will. Usually they will just turn it on, or you tell them, you need to use that function for that uh, piece of activity, and they will do that. They will not know how to do that to begin with, but they expect you to remind them, and you need to constantly be vigilant of what they're doing, which again is not an easy task when you have so many people developing so much software.
All right.
And this isn't
Go
new.
ahead, Bill.
Like this is interesting. This whole citizen developer thing is not new. Like this has been done before. Go look at IBM and Lotus Notes. That they enabled the the business units to build the things they needed to, because we were coming out of the paper world, and for half the audience, they're probably too young to remember.
I
any of
remember
this.
creating Visual Basic applications in Excel. I do remember.
Yeah, so that was then the natural progression when Microsoft
Yeah.
came along, and it became this idea of how do you go from paper to this computer thing, and Lotus Notes came out, and you could quite easily build these apps, and you would end up with thousands of these things that do tasks. It was kind of like our day of scripting stuff. It was just task-based stuff. But this is not new, right? So I think the core is there, the understanding is there, and it's just simply teaching them the new tools, right? Everybody thinks the AI is going to build it, so it's going to do it right. It's not.
Well, here, I want to put this question that Jake has. Jake Cozart, who's a developer at the Flybook, says, how do you convince C-suites that it works does not equal production ready? Again, love this comment. My parent company is pushing AI hard, and they think that it can just be plugged into apps. It is hard to convince them that there are security/production concerns when we go live. Amichai, coming back to you on this, it sounds like the accountant relationship is, well, as security, we need to just start asking questions. Do you know this? So what would be some of like these initial questions we would be asking?
I think for the most part, it's what is the data that you're accessing? To try to come up with a list of the data that you're accessing. How are you accessing it? Did you use this and that feature that is designed for protecting your data? And I have to say, we know the questions, the security people. They vary from platform to platform.
No, but you're making a good point here. I mean, this is, again, it's like the conversation you have with your accountant or any kind of consultant like this. Bill, what would you add to this?
I'd be asking what does it cost the company if this thing that you're going to plug in, the C-suite saying just plug it in, we can go, it's ready to go. Okay, cool. Now what happens when it goes horribly wrong? Not if, when. Everything breaks, all this stuff will break, the world breaks, so nothing's perfect. So drive them down that path of, all right, we're going to attach it to this set of data, and if it goes horribly wrong, take worst case scenario, it dumps it all somewhere. What is our effect? It's test data, no big deal. Great, that's where you connect it. Oh no, that is our secret plans for the next jet engine that we're building. That is a nightmare. That's the end of your company. Okay, now you've starting to have the idea that we're taking technical conversations to the C-suite has to be in business terms. You have to explain it to them in business terms. Don't go in there and say that you might have a SQL injection or you might have a prompt injection that could result in an MCP server, blah, blah, blah. They don't care. But if you tell them that they could lose their business, now you're having the conversation of why it works is not equal to production. Production is the controls that manage us to the risk level that we have agreed on as a leadership team.
All right. I think it's time to play our very first game. Let's get it loaded, Josh. All right, everybody else, there is an icon.
You know what others are thinking?
It looks like a little game controller.
Interest.
You see, it looks like an old Nintendo game controller. Everyone click on that. And we're going to play this Kahoot game right now. So you're going to type in that PIN number that you see on the screen. It's 812-12-9898. And I'm going to play too because I have not seen these questions at all. And we are totally playing for bragging rights on this game. here. Everyone jump in as soon as you can. Amichai and Bill, I want you in there as well. This is
Already
going to
in.
be called the public interest, where we're going to show you 2, 3, sometimes 4 terms, and you have to determine which one do people search for more than other ones. And I know there's more of you than there. So I'm going to give you a 10-second countdown, and then we're going to get rolling. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Are we in there? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's start this. Which term has the most by the accuracy and speed? Low code or no code? What do you think it is? By the way, good question. You have 10 seconds to answer each question. No code is the correct answer. I got that one right. Hope you all did. Or not all. Where are we at? But I am not on the top list. I am not on the top. It looks I'll probably be number 6 because I'm right below 841.
I was
All right,
clicking
next
on the
question.
screen.
Next question. No code, about 50% more. Look at that. Which term has the most monthly search queries? Vibe code, vibe code. Well, this one I feel is easy, but I may be wrong. It was code. I did get that one correct. Some people thought vibe code was. There's no way vibe code's more. But I'm coming up to 3rd here. I'm feeling good about this. But Renan, vibe code. Wow, vibe and vibe code are equal. That is shocking. We have a total of, I think, 4 questions here. Process automation, robotic. All right. I am 3 for 3. I have not done this before. I don't think I've ever gone 4 for 4. I could go 4 for 4. I might be able to have my own bragging rights. We're going to find out. Doesn't look like anyone else has gone 3 for 3 here. Look at that, 3 to 1 on robotic over process. But my second would have been automation, not process. Data leakage, shadow IT, prompt injection, supply chain. I feel confident about this one. Oh, maybe not. I got it wrong. Most of you got that right. Not me.
That was a panic answer. Every time I see data leakage, I panic.
Well, I had the second most popular. I picked shadow IT. All right, let's see who the winner is. And the winner is Renan. Good job. And please tell me I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I hate the fact that I've been pronouncing it wrong. David, stop. Who's telling me to stop? Oh, stop succeeding. Well, good job. Renan, however you pronounce it. Please feel free to correct me. All right. Now, I want to take this to you, Amichai. We've been talking about no code and low code security, essentially citizen developers here. You've been giving us good advice on how to deal with this, but this is what you guys are doing in no code. Explain to us what you are doing in dealing with citizen developers.
So we are providing a solution for organizations to tackle security for citizen developers and the applications they create on top of all these platforms. To take your analogy, we're kind of creating that automated accountant that goes over all your receipts and all your stuff, scans each and every application created by those citizen developers throughout its entire life cycle, and giving that advice and asking the questions, helping people make the right adjustments, um, and providing the security team the ability to monitor this process all the time.
Hmm.
So helping the citizen developers with solving the issues and letting the security team monitor the entire
And
ecosystem.
then, like, if there's anomalies or things that are confusing, because, like, like with my accountant, they do as much as they can until they can't because they don't have information. Are you then you pull up the anomalies, like, we were able to fix this, we were able to deal with this, but these 5, 6 things make no sense to us, or we need more information here. How's it
So,
work?
so this is why the security team, on the one hand, has interfaced to the system, and the citizen developers, on the other hand, gets the information from the system pushed to them, and they, if there's um, room for discussion, then security gets into the process again, um, either looking for more information or accepting the risk where it makes sense. So that's their part of the story here,
Hmm.
um, and that's the challenge in this type of system where you have people who care about their business and running fast on the one hand, and a security team which cannot scale to that size,
Right.
unless there is some automation working for them in the background.
And you bring up a good point. I want to ask you one follow-up question, but before I do that, I'm going to publish this poll right now. So I'm putting up a poll right now. If you would like us to make a warm handoff for you to the people at No Code, because this is kind of interesting in that this is something that many do not have within their environment, and just understanding how this is handled would be quite valuable, I think. And I this is how I'm interested to dig it a little bit deeper here, Amichai, is just as a follow-up question, how are because you need automation for this if it's so much is being created, and then for what automation can't handle, you're opening up the dialogue. What is easy to automate, and what do you find needs a dialogue? Like, where does it break down?
I think the biggest challenge today, and this is one of the things that we keep trying to improve with our technology. The big challenge is understanding the source of your input. Um,
Source of your, I'm
and
sorry, say that again. Source of your what? Your data? Oh, your
your
data?
input
Oh,
of
your
your
input.
data
Your
of
input.
your input,
Yeah.
because um, at the end of the day, if that input comes, if that data comes directly from an external user from the
Hmm.
internet, then suddenly you have an external facing application,
Hmm.
uh, and it's exposed to the web like any other professionally developed web application, and the risk is uh, substantial. Then,
Hmm.
if the data that you're using, is input for your automation or app or whatnot, um, is already processed and have gone through, various layers of mutation and processing, then, the risk of an attacker controlling that data is not huge.
Yeah.
Um, so, really, that piece of figuring out uh, how much of external exposure uh, you have is the most challenging one.
Okay. All right. So we had a ton of questions. And actually, with all these questions, I'm assuming lots more of you would also, and I'll put up that poll again. Lots more of you would like to talk to No Code because with all these questions. But let's just start plowing through this. And let's try to get through these quickly as possible because there's a lot. I got like 7 or 8 already right here. Um, Here we go. From Freddie Alvarez, stock manager at UACJ. Um, we are underestimating the systemic risk posed by citizen development when thousands of users can create applications that interact with critical data without going through. Oh, are we? I'm sorry. The question is, are we underestimating? Yes, I think the answer is yes. We're
100%.
underestimating this risk, aren't we? Yes? Is this like
Yes.
the simple answer?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next one. We both get a yes from Amichai and
Yeah,
Bill.
just
Um,
just just give me let me give a stat on that.
oh, shit,
Uh,
please, please.
Usually when we go to organizations and start talking about that, they say, "Yeah, we know, but that's mostly internal." Reality is that we see 15% on average of applications created by citizen developers, business users that are external facing. 15% of 10,000 applications, which is what we see with our smaller customer, is a lot.
Mhm.
15% of 100,000 application, which is a number we are seeing with our customers, is a huge number. You really need to feel very lucky in
Mhm.
order to believe that they're not posing a huge risk to your
By the
organization.
way, Antonio here brings up a really good question here, I'll set this up. So Antonio Paolo Mecci, a CISO DPO, head of IT for D-Swiss AG, in a world where AI can generate working applications in minutes, and we could be flooded with them, does identity become the primary security control? And I think I know what your answer on this, Amichai, is going to be. But in other words, should the focus move from securing the code to securing access to the data and APIs the code touches? Actually, I'm going to start with you, Bill. Here, we'll go to Amichai. The fact that the data is getting out there is the problem. Then yes, the identity is too. But I don't think you can divorce one over the other. Can you, Bill?
No, you can't. In fact, I would never swing focus. I think when you swing focus, you're just playing whack-a-mole and jumping from problem to
Right.
problem. But you know me. You've seen my career. I left Zscaler and went to SecureAuth because I believe identity is the future of everything we do on the internet. Tying the meat sack to the digital footprint is going to be critical. And with the whole AI extension, I think we're now seeing the alternate personas of the meat sack. Like, I mean, Bill's going to be Bill, but Bill's also going to have an AI agent that does something. And I think the quick piece you can do is you tie every single data touch to the owner. I don't care
Mhm.
if they came in through an API, they screen clicked it, they coded it in Claude, or they used an agent that did it on the back end. If it's their data and their creds, it's their problem, right? That's where you got to start, because when they think, okay, I'm building this thing and it's going to do all these wonderful things. It's like, okay, great. You're going to build that thing. You can do all those wonderful things, but understand everything it does is on you and you're signing off on it. It's your job. They pause for a minute and sort of go, oh, okay. And that's going to lead to a bigger discussion when we do have autonomous agents and stuff. But yes, identity is going to be the future.
All right. Wait,
Is.
actually, before you speak, Amichai, actually, Antonio had even a better question here. Are we, and I like this one, are we entering a phase, and I think this is where you very much come in with no code, are we entering a phase where the cost of building software is approaching zero? It sure looks like it. But the cost of securing and maintaining it is growing exponentially because so much more is being developed with nothing, no security. Like everyone's going to need the accountant now. What do you think, Amichai?
Uh, I think if we do not get the right tools in place, yes, it's going to grow exponentially. And of course, we cannot allow it to ourselves. Uh, we need to find the right way to do that. And some of the ways we think about application security or even identity um, are just not a fit for a world where you have so much software being developed so fast by so many people with different cultures, different management, different
Mm-hmm.
incentives. Um, so yeah, the cost of software is rapidly decreasing. We're seeing that when I started developing software, you'd think you'd, your application would live for 5 years. It would actually live for 15. Um, Today, we're seeing applications being created. They work great for a couple of months, and then people forget about them.
And
Um, Go
I
ahead.
have a bit of an issue because I listened to a presentation by the guys at OpenAI, and they're very smart people, but they kept reinforcing code is free, tokens are cheap. Yes, if you own the company that.
Could you, by the way, Bill, you broke up there a second.
Oh,
Just say it again. Say what you said again.
sorry, they said code is free, tokens are cheap. And I said, yes, if you own the company that makes the tokens.
Mm-hmm.
We all see this when you swing over and start heavily using one of these foundational models, you see bills for them. Code is not free. The cost of developing code is not free. It is becoming less obvious. It is definitely becoming cheaper for sure. You know, a $300,000 annual Anthropic bill versus 10 developers. There's a very marked difference in that. But there's still it's like when we offshored to India at first. There are secondary costs that come in, and one of those is the security. One of those is the review and the other pieces that have to be done to manage out all of the pieces that as you shift to a sort of a no-code development cycle.
My apologies for that. There are people interrupting this, and I don't want to interrupt you. All right, I had another interesting question here from Aman Sood. Why are the terms product security and application security so often used interchangeably? I'm not privy to this, so please tell me. There is a big difference between the two. A, would you agree, Amichai, that they are being used interchangeably? And if so, explain the difference and who needs to handle what.
I try not to use them interchangeably, and I get what Aman is saying here. The world, at least I live in, is mostly about applications. They're not products. Most of them are personal productivity or departmental things or really small stuff. Um, they're not created with the mindset of product, and it goes back to what we said earlier about you could even do something that was shared company wide, but works for 1 month or a couple of months. You're not going to treat that as a product, um, and hence a lot of things that we think of when we talk about product security, certainly over time, are not relevant, and people are not going to spend time thinking of them. And we need to accept that, which is, by the way, one of the reasons that we need to, for example, embrace the concept of garbage collection for these citizen developer applications. Um,
You know, I want to put up Darius's question because this is up there. So this is something I've been thinking about because there are still computer science degrees out there, but not a lot of developers now being hired. And so Darius Young asks, who is a help desk analyst himself at Mimi T, said, how does the curriculum change for computer science degrees now that vibe coding has been evolving today? You know, I have a friend who works over at Intuit, and they're not hiring developers. In fact, I think they're laying them off. I don't quote me on that. But, you know, that's the reality of it. Nobody is looking to hire new developers, I think, these days. But like we just said, it looks like the opportunity is in securing these, being the essential accountants for all these developers. What do you think? Either one of you jump in.
I think you're going to see a massive shift to existing developers becoming more design and architects as the code is built for them. I have never, and I am not the poster child for post-secondary education. You know, I attempted a degree in English and political science and dropped out after 2 years. And I think with the tools and the availability of online courses and things that can ramp you up, I think it's just get in and do it. Other courses, like I'm just talking computer science right now. Unless you're going into, you're thinking future ahead, and I would love to see some of those courses being developed that talk about architecture, development, design more than the coding piece.
I'm going to put this poll back up here a second if you would like to have the warm handoff, because as we're seeing that the more and more demand for the securing of this citizen developer applications that are happening, if you would like a nice warm handoff, I'm throwing that up again because it seems, Amichai, I mean, you may be in a pretty sweet spot right now, given the rise of these applications. I mean, how are, I guess I'm interested to know, like, how are customers approaching you at this point? Like, what is the conversation they're having with
so
you?
we have two types of conversations. Uh, we have those who realize that they've been having this citizen developer program for a few years now, and they don't really know what the outcome is.
Hmm.
They're saying, well, we know that we have this, but to be honest, we don't know how many applications we have out there. Um, and then we usually go in uh, and 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 that's the first thing that they'd like to know, what's the size of the problem. The other type of conversation is organizations who are saying, well, we've been able to say no so far, uh, but it's not going to hold anymore, and we want to get ahead of it. We want to put something in place before people start developing. And then what we usually find out when we go pilot with these customers is that there are thousands of applications behind.
Hmm.
Um, but it's that type of conversation. So I think the bigger ones, they they know that they have security, that they know that that train has left the station, and they just need to clean the security, that with the program moving forward. And there are the smaller one usually. They try to be proactive on it now.
Here, let me. Murad has a relevant question here. Murad Sid, who's the founder and principal consultant for Cypress Cedar, says, "Can AI effectively QA the user experience and accessibility of a citizen-built app? Maybe something you are or are not doing right now with no code. I don't know. I want you to answer, Amichai. Or, as Murad goes on, will it only be able to check if the underlying code functions, you know, essentially functions without breaking? So, where are you, I guess, in the architecture of what you're doing with no code? And have you seen other things happening in you know as well?
I think it has less to do with what we're doing, because we're looking for the security, and we are looking for the underlying, not code, because at the end of the day, most of the developers are not working with code; they're working with bigger building blocks. Uh, but again, one of the things that we rarely see with these applications is people caring about their accessibility, their correct functionality over time. Um, these things rarely go through an actual QA process per se. Um, it's you know build, make it somehow work, um, and then release. And then if it works, great. If it's not, then just leave it around. Maybe we'll build something new in a month. Um, so and by the way, AI, I think, does have a substantial effect on QA in general,
Hmm.
even in professional environments. So not necessarily no code.
Yeah, you can definitely use AI to QA the user experience
Hmm.
based on use cases. We've scripted that historically,
Hmm.
so the AI could actually bring a little bit more context into it because you can give it an understanding of the type of persona it's supposed to be, and I think you might get better results.
Okay. By the way, we can take. I just burned through all the questions here, so if you've got more questions, please get them in. I'm going to go to one more question, then we're going to play our next game after that. Um, so let's go back to when things break, because right now I'm sure things are breaking, and people are not like they're not securing the code of citizen developers to the level they're securing the code of their developers. Would we kind of all agree on that at this point? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We feel comfortable saying that. So, and I'm also assuming, and I know, we want to put the ownership on the individual, but there's going to be one of those, like, when that breaks, they're going to go after the person who created it. And they'll be like, I don't know. What do I know? I created this. It was working, so I put it out there, kind of a thing. So do these people become liable? Like what happens to these people? Because this is the current state. I know we want to move away from it, but what's happening to these people who are creating these codes? Do we have any knowledge, or I think we're kind of waiting for the shoe to drop. What do you think? Either one of you jump in.
Well, I think you have to look at it in sort of two different pieces, right? There, if you talk about sort of that real vibe coder out there, just an average Joe who's building a productivity app on their own with their own stuff, so be it. They have to do things. There's no gating or controls, right? Like we in business have our gates and our controls for moving something to production, which invokes a lot of the controls for security reviews, checks, all the pieces that get in there. And I think if you're now taking somebody from a business who's now going outside the business to vibe code something on one of the platforms, they have to be aware that there are corporate controls in place before that is allowed to expose, because the citizen developer platforms put it in public like that, right? You go in, you vibe code, you get it going, and it gives you a URL, and it is a public URL because you're not on a VPN, you're not off somewhere else. And it would be really interesting to see, the Lovables, Vercels, the Bolts, the Baidus of the world start to build out that offering to citizen developers that says, here's what a move to production would look like if you're serious about this. If you're just hacking around and doing some fun things and you're building something for your family, okay, whatever. Truthfully, that should have the same process, and maybe they build a lighter one. But I think it's up to them to expose those things to the end user. If you've got a developer from a business, they're going to look at that and go, oh my God, yeah, I have that here. I guess I should do that here as well. And to the marketing person who's never stepped into that world, they're going to go, oh, okay, maybe I'll go ask somebody, or maybe I will just click on the button and it will walk me through, do my security check, do my this check, did you, blah, 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 and get you through those pieces that then take you to now you're ready to go public and turn off your private link.
Yeah, I want to just give an alert to everybody in our audience. So Amichai is in Tel Aviv, and Amichai just got a missile alert. Do you need to bolt right now, Amichai? I mean, obviously.
No, I actually have to stay here. I might have some guests soon.
Okay, all right. So if all of a sudden he goes dark and disappears, we know he is heading for cover. We want you to stay safe. Obviously, this is not something we normally deal with over here with our shows, but obviously we very much understand what you need to do, and obviously take whatever precautions you need to.
I'm good.
Okay. I want our audience to be alert and aware of what's going on as well. All right. I think we're ready for our next game. Can we get it loaded and up and going? Let's get it going. All right, click that icon.
A brand new
that
game.
Kahoot icon. All right. I have not seen this myself. Go ahead and type in the code and put in your name. Let's everybody get in there. And I'm going to give you, there's a lot of you in there that aren't jumping in. So I'm going to give a 10-second countdown starting now. So remember, you click the little Kahoot icon and you do it. So 10, and we are, can you show the store page? Go ahead and show that, Josh. Go ahead and show. Well, we'll give people 421-6252 is the code number, 421-6252. Go ahead and show the show page. There it is. What happens if you win? Come in first. We give you a little coupon code. You can go get whatever item you want. And by the way, Amichai, Bill, you're playing for this too. All right. Someone actually did get the socks recently. Someone wanted the socks. I don't even have the socks. I will say the purple look and the blue looks quite nice. All right. I'm giving you a 5-second countdown from here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's start the game. It's going to be pretty. I think it's called Name This Deep Fake or something like that. It's what countries or who gets more deep fakes, and they'll show 2 different celebrities. You got to choose, I believe, your favorite deep fake. I think this is the European or the British version. We're going to find out in a second. I forget. Which star is most exploited by scammers? Scarlett Johansson and Taylor Swift. Who do you think? I think this is a UK version. Could someone, Rich, are you around? Is this the UK version? Most selected Taylor. I want confirmation because I think we did this before and it was a US version. So that will global. This is global. I'm sorry, correct. This is global, not just US. I think we did good. This is global. Thank you for correcting. All right, let's go to the next one. Darius is in the lead. God, he was hot on that Taylor Swift right away. All right, number one, Scarlett Johansson, number two, though, right behind that. All right. I think it's just most popular. Billie Eilish, Emma Watson. All right, let's see. I did go for Emma Watson. I was just thinking she might be more known globally. Darius is staying in the lead. How are you doing, Amichai?
Doing well so far.
You're 2 for 2?
Yeah.
Oh, then when we're saying you're number third, I'm just looking at you're number third.
Soaps.
All right. Billie Eilish takes the lead. All right, let's see who's next. Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt. Those got to be 1 and 2 right there. I don't know which is.
Got to be Tom Cruise, with all those.
Yeah. I did pick, but they got. I'm bet you it's 1 and 2 when they come up. Oh no, it wasn't 1 and 2. I'm sorry, Taylor Swift and Darius still in the. Amichai, you're still doing well. Third, you're not that far away. 6 and 7. Jesus, who the heck? So 3, 4, 5. We don't know here. 1 and 2, I think, was Taylor Swift and Scarlett Johansson. All right. This is our last one, I think. Here we go. Sabrina Carpenter, Kendrick Lamar. All right. We're going to find out.
Oh, the pictures and the boxes are reversed.
You can't.
That's great. I clicked the wrong one.
No, well, there you go.
Got
Did
it
you?
right.
And you got it right for clicking the wrong one?
Yeah.
Good job. All right. Sabrina Carpenter. I got that one. I think I got. What did I get? Did I get? I think I got 2 out of 4 or 3 out of 4. I can't remember how many. 4 out of 4. Doc Drew. Good job. Also, Amichai. Very good. Oh my God. So close, Amichai. Is it Darius? Did Darius win? Yes, Darius. Good job, Darius. Very, very good job. All right. We are 12 minutes out here. Make sure Darius gets that coupon code, Josh. All right. Everyone, I do want to remind you, we're 12 minutes, so we're wrapping up here. If you got questions, get them in right now. We are going to be doing our post-show meetup afterwards. So if you've never been to that, I want you to show up because we want to chat with you. So please show up to our post-show meetup as well. All right, let's get to my questions here. If I'm not going to the audience questions, I'm going to my own questions for that matter. So, so traditional development creates technical debt. What is ungoverned citizen development creating over time? Like, is it just like shadow IT? We don't know what's being created, where, and when.
Yes.
I think at least from what we're seeing, it is less than technical debt and more of a security debt in that case.
Mm-hmm.
Reason, again, it all ties back to the thing that when you start accumulating technical debt on a small app that someone created in marketing, what you do is usually 1 of 2 things. Hand it over to the software engineering team, make it their problem, or restart. So leave the one that you've used so far behind and with a new thing. And what it creates is a lot of applications that were great and useful and are no longer in use. they're still providing access to your corporate data.
Mhm.
Some of them are still accessible from the internet, but no one actually cares or uses them or anything.
Mhm.
Um, so again, it goes back to the thing that I talked about earlier. There's the sense that you really need garbage collection for your citizen developer apps.
So let's talk about, because with the little time we got left, let's talk about how we sort of, this sounds like a culture move at this point, Bill, in that, hey guys, I know you're doing this. We'd love to see your app. Like, let's spin it like the half glass full, positive. Like, we'd love to see your applications. And just because it works, it doesn't mean it's production ready. I think that's a mantra that people need to understand. Just because it works doesn't mean we can roll it out, and the reasons for that. So, what is the way? What are some suggestions how we can sort of build that culture and let them know about this?
I think one of the good ways is to start setting up enterprise contracts with some of the platforms, right? Because if you have everybody out running on every different platform, the technical debt becomes and the data sprawl becomes so unmanageable, and
Mhm.
you might find something that works and it's good, but maybe porting it over to something else is difficult. So I think if you go out and you pick your foundation model, you go sign a contract with Anthropic, put some
Right.
controls around zero data retention. You're not training it. Understand the cost is going to go up. It's not the free or the cheap teams that you get, but they're not training on your data, right? And you have those controls and you have auditability and you have RBAC and you can provision and all those good things. And then you pick a platform on top of it, or maybe a couple, right? So you can see how things are going, you bake them off and give the people the ability to engage and take their business knowledge, because they're eventually going to get new jobs, quit, retire, die, whatever. You want that. And this is where I think the true power in this lies, that if you have solidified sort of your approach on this
Mhm.
and you have people building these things, when they leave, these things stay. So that business knowledge stays. That piece that maybe made you so successful in your marketing campaign or in your outreach on sales or in your development cycle, those pieces continue to stay. And the new developers, the new marketers, the new SROs, they come in and they start using these tools. They learn from them, but the tools are more guiding them because they've set the process forward, going forward for the company. And that's when it becomes agentic, right? And that's when you then turn it over and you're less reliant on people. And it sounds like a crappy thing, but this is the future that we're heading towards. But then your business continues to run. You have a little bit more predictability theoretically in what you're doing.
All right. That's very good advice. What would you add to this, Amichai? And then I do
Well,
have another question to bring up. Go ahead.
so again, I do think that um, yeah, there is a culture thing that you'd like to put in your organization. Um, I suspect that we will have to find a way to get security without that culture for quite some time.
Mhm.
We've tried to put in proper developer secure development culture with the professional developers. We've done that for some 15 years now. Uh, I'd say we're barely half the way there. So you know, getting this culture to everyone in the organization is going to take lots of time.
Mhm.
And in the meantime, we will need to be more of the reactive type, but do it fast. So you have this application, you've started using it, it has issues, go fix that. You've made a change, you've introduced a new issue. Hey, go fix that, go do that, go use this new feature.
Mhm.
Constantly guide the people who create these applications as they create them, as they make changes. Um, it will take time before they become proactive about the security of it.
Let me show this question from Kartik Gupta, CTO over at StackGuard. With vibe coding increasing, developers are losing intellect to cross-question. I'm going to say losing, not losing. Losing intellect to cross-question LLMs. Hence, a working POC seems job done to them. So this is kind of like what you're saying. If it's functional, it works. So the idea is that the LLMs could be a little stagnant. Yes? No? What do you think, Bill?
They absolutely could be. And you know, the LLMs have been historically trained on open source. Open source is rife
Right.
with malware, garbage code, junk.
Mhm.
And they're going to go through these development cycles where the developers we're not going to, I don't think we will be losing developers in the short term. There are companies out there saying we're hiring no new junior developers. I kind of
Mhm.
get that one. But they're going to be iterating, and their mids and seniors are going to be in there fixing things. But the loss of intellect is absolutely there. You know, you just simply look at the actual IQ of the generations, and there has never been a generation that did not go down in IQ. It always went up in sort of intellectual capability
Right.
until the most recent ones, because there's such a dependency on Google search, on Bing, on getting answers instantly. There's very little creativity. The sense of wonder is what do they call Google? The wonder killer.
Mhm.
People don't sit and think about things very much anymore. They just go ask the answer. And if the AI spits back the answer and it's a bad answer, or it's a historically poor answer, but used a lot, then they will continue. And so I think the true understanding of that is SQL injection, right? Concatenated SQL statements are still showing up in code today because a junior developer came in and the senior developer said, "Here's how we write it." And they went and looked at it and went, "Okay, that's how you write it. I'm going to write it exactly the same way." That was the wrong way. We're teaching the
Mhm.
wrong way. So there will be this transitional period. And then I think the intellect will change, where we will rely more on the business user. What is the business purpose of what we're building, right? It's not that we're building something, it's that we're attempting to accomplish a task. What is the business purpose for it? How do we make money with it? Who does it help? What is the role, etc.? And being able to articulate that well, and get it into an LLM so that it can then turn that into code that runs and does something. That will be the next form of developer.
All right. I need to close out the show, so I'm going to let each of you have a last word. So hold on. I'm going to just present this on stage. Is this going to go? There we go. Huge thanks to your company, Amichai No Code, for sponsoring today's episode. Thank you so much. And I want to let everybody know that next Monday, our show, Department of No, which is our former weekend review show. It's on Monday. We have John Barrows, CISO of JB Poindexter and Company, and also Derek Fisher, with Temple University. They will be joining us. This is our Kick the Week Off in Cyber, where we take the last week's news and we say, how does it affect your program? Stick around for the meetup. Please, everybody who's here, stay exactly where you are. What's going to happen, we're going to close the show and we'll do a 15-second countdown. You'll all be thrown in rooms. We can all join the same room, be in split rooms, whatever the heck you want to do. But turn on your camera and let's talk. And if you want to sponsor Super Cyber Friday, we have spots opening up in May. Email us at info@cisoseries.com. All right. Let me hide that. We literally have just 2 minutes. So I'm going to ask for you, Amichai. Literally, anything I did not ask we should have been covering, quick response in 30 seconds. What do you got?
No, just bear in mind, Trent has left the station. Most of the applications today
Yeah.
are going to be created by non-software developers. Let's
Simple as
embrace that.
that. This is the new, this essentially your way you're putting it. This is a new problem. I'm throwing up the poll for the last minute of the show so people can go and put it in there if they would like a nice warm handoff to no code. Bill, your last thoughts on this topic.
Change is simply an act of survival. Embrace it and thrive. Resist it, you die.
That is by the way, you're the most quotable person here. And Amichai, Train has already left the station like that too. Yeah, more and more applications are not going to be made by developers. Very good point. All right. I want to thank both of our guests, Amichai Shulman, who's the co-founder and CTO of No Code Security, and Bill Harmer, the brand new CISO of our Supabase. How should I pronounce it?
Supabase.
Supabase. All right. Josh, who is our producer, has been running this whole darn thing, making sure it runs as smoothly as it does. Huge thanks to him. Do me a favor, Josh. Take us out. Stick around. Let's do the meetup.